was a fortune teller when I was young, in my 20s. I was very interested in the paranormal. My brother came one day, he told me, I have a trial in the court. Can you tell me the result? I told him there is no court. He told me, how there is no court? I have the official paper. Next week, at that time, such day, I have a court, a trial. I said, there is no court. How? I don't know. He told me, are you joking or making fun of me? I said, there is no court. I don't know. We discovered that the judge died and the court has been closed for 3 days. So the trial has been postponed. I was amazed because everyone told me, don't open your mouth. Whatever you say will happen.
If you ever saw a ghost, would you shrug it off, or would it change your life? There are some paranormal experiences that seem to have no explanation. They are completely irrational encounters. But sometimes when we think we've seen a ghost, we'll change our behavior and even our lives in significant ways. Hello, I'm Lawrence Chow. Today on Ghostly Encounters, we meet a man and a woman who took their lives in a different direction after seeing ghosts. And no wonder, for these weren't just any ghosts. They were the spirits of dead relatives. And Salwa Sayun and Mitch Hall both believe these ghosts came to help them straighten out their lives. Salwa came to Canada from Lebanon as a young woman. She raised a family and got her Canadian nursing certificate. Her sisters and father stayed behind, but they remained close. So when her older sister was diagnosed with lung cancer, Salwa was crushed.
So when I got the news, they told me 2 years. So I said, I have time to see her, 2 years to survive, Nobody talked about death 2 years prior to that. And everybody expects a miracle anyway. After a few months, I got the message that my dad has cancer of stomach and he has to survive 3 months only. So I said, I have to rush. I have to go right now. There is 2 at the end. Poor sister, she was not able to make a few steps without shortness of breath, Even she wanna go to, she was not able to go to the kitchen to prepare her meal even. I have to bring her the food beside her, otherwise her heart starts to palpitate and at the end she was on her oxygen anyway, and we need always to give her the water, the food, to hold her hand if she wanna change position. And we used to pray for her, and every time I pray, she told me, I got peace, but nothing more. So, I was getting the message that healing is not going to happen. One day she asked me a question. She told me, how is my dad? I told her, he's not going to last, he's very bad. She told me, you will see. You will see. He will last longer than me. And it was true, because she died after maybe 2 weeks. I was not expecting whatever as a human being, we are strong and we expect this, but still we are shocked. So I ran away. I said I don't want to watch more because it seems I'm going to die, me too. So let me get out from the situation. We didn't tell our dad at all. He didn't know nothing about the funeral of my sister and anything. So I said, anyway, I can't stay anymore. I feel my health getting backward. I have to move. Then I decide to come. And I know very well my dad is going to die, but I don't know when. The doctor said 3 months, but I don't know. So he died 4 days after then I left. When they told me on the telephone, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to cry, I don't want to go into high blood pressure and so on. Then they phoned me again, they told me your brother-in-law died, follow them. I said, I don't want to talk about it, I cannot stand any more death, no, I don't want to hear anything anymore.
Her sister, her father, and then her sister's husband. 3 deaths within a matter of weeks. At the time, Salwa believed she would never see any of them again.
So I didn't think about it. I said, okay, it will be a small gift from my dad, that's it, because I deserve it, you know. I lost a lot between them. Then my sister mentioned a word in front of me. She told me, oh, these children are orphan right now. Oh, we're supposed to give them, not to take from them money. I said, but this is not from them. This is from my dad. She said, still though, this is the money of my sister coming to my dad, and it is supposed to go back to the children. I said, no, this is small amount from my dad. Like, I am happy to get a gift from my dad, that small amount. But right away, you know, a feeling of contradiction didn't let me feel good. Then my daughter called me from overseas. She told me, Mommy, you look like the black sheep in the family right now. Everybody's just gossiping about you, and they see you as like greedy, whatever. Mommy did not deserve whatever, like, think about it. I cannot give you advice, whatever. Think about it, because I am telling you about their feeling. Then one night I went to sleep. It was 1:30 midnight. And then I have seen a presence in my room, and my sister sitting on the chair in front of me. I was lying in bed. I was not scared. I look at her. I told her, why? You are checking on me? What are you doing here? Because I didn't like her presence. Because she was sitting on the chair and me on the bed. It was inversing the role, because when she was in bed, I was sitting on the chair in front of her. So I didn't like it. I said, what do you want? Like, why you are coming here? What do you want? So she was just watching me with the same position, like when she was sick, but she was beautiful. My sister was very beautiful. And she has a small veil on her head. Usually she never put veil. And she was just watching me like that. I said, okay, don't want to talk, leave. When I told her leave, she disappeared. Then the telephone rang, long distance. I pick up the phone. It was her younger son. And after that, you know, the conversation, I feel so bad, so bad, so bad, so bad. Even I felt a burden on my chest, on my back. Like something was wrong, but I cannot describe it. I didn't have time even to pray about that, to tell you the truth, because it was very quick. After she came, she visited me, and the bad feeling came toward me. And I didn't pray. I didn't ask about it. It was very quick. I want to get rid of this money because I want that peace. And even right now, I don't regret it. Even it was my right. So I rushed to the consulate, you know, and I met him. I told him I want to discharge my right to my nephew and niece. He told me, yes, they are right. You are supposed to do that. I look at him and said, he doesn't know me, don't know nothing about my family, this man. And yeah, you should. You're supposed to do that. After I finished all this, you know, like I felt quite different. I felt relieved. I felt happy. But I said, what is still, I am still asking myself and still wondering. Oh, everything is legal. But how come when I discharged my right, I felt better? Because if we try to put our mind in understanding the spiritual realm here, we fail always. We cannot. We try always to discover, but at the end we accept one fact, you know, like that. What is going to happen is going to happen. This is not the end of the world, of life. No. It is not the end.
Salwa heeded the direction she felt her dead sister was giving her, to give up part of her inheritance. Even though she believed she had a legal right to the money, returning it gave Salwa great spiritual peace. Salwa isn't the first person to take advice from the dead. In many cultures, ancestors are still part of the daily lives of the living. In some places, the living even consult the dead before making major decisions. It's also believed that sometimes ancestors harass the living to show their disapproval. Salwa's story of a visit from her dead sister's ghost fits loosely into this global cultural phenomenon in which the dead are thought to participate in major choices made by their living relatives. The intense period of caring for her sister before she died made the attachment between the two women very strong. So it seems only fitting that her eldest sister would want Salwa to do right by her nephews and nieces.
I suppose the supernatural to me, prior to what my experience was in October, is one of a real reluctance to believe. I didn't really get the notion that ghosts existed, but definitely as a kid I was always afraid of the cellar and this one particular back room. And I can go there today and I can remember being 9, and there's something horribly haunting about this back room. You sort of feel like you're not supposed to be there. But I can definitely say that I had to exit that room and run up those stairs because of the feeling of something coming from my back. And even now, I'm a grown man, and I go down and come up these stairs, and I get this feeling that I'm either being pushed up and out of these stairs, or that I physically need to get out of there because it's not supposed to be there.
Like Salwa, Mitch Hall had a ghostly encounter with a dead relative that significantly changed the way he lived his life. Salwa's experience happened in her middle age. Mitch's happened in his 20s. But its origin can be traced a lot further back. Mitch had a wonderful childhood. His parents, Carol and Mike, homeschooled Mitch and his brother Jason for part of their childhood. And every so often, the entire family would take off for a whole year and go visit relatives in Europe and Australia. The Halls ended up in Northern Ontario, running a general store and restaurant. There were tough times, but everyone in the family pitched in, working together, and when they found the time, playing together. Over the years, Mitch has come to understand that the real benefit of a tight, loving family is not just the camaraderie and the good times. The real and lasting benefit is the relationship between parent and child.
We've always had, a really close bond, my father and I. He was a particularly loving guy, really charismatic, and I always remember being totally taken by him as a kid. I always remember people that met him said, he was just a super charismatic and sort of powerful man that had, a huge presence. Just a little over 8 years ago now, Michael developed a sarcoma cancer of his foot. And then a friend said to me, Mitch, you should prepare yourself that your father could die. Have you thought about that? And I guess I hadn't. I guess that was something that just sort of slipped over my head. Dad was a big, strong guy. Nothing could take him out. He'd be fine back home soon. I remember going in and seeing my father in a pretty poor way. He was in intensive care. A clot had moved from his leg up and into his heart, which ceased his heart to function properly and destroyed him. I definitely felt the loss of a hugely important figure in my life.
Maybe it was the deep attachment between father and son. Maybe it was 20-year-old Mitch's uncertainty about not knowing where he was going with his life. Most likely it was a mixture of both. But the loss of his father shook Mitch to the very core of his being. He lost his energy for life and fell into a depression. To escape from his despair, he began to abuse alcohol and marijuana. Mitch knew he was on a downward spiral. What he feared most was that he'd never find the energy to pull himself out of it. Things were going from bad to worse when Mitch had an unexpected visitor.
I remember this one night that changed all that for me. It was probably about midnight on October and a Wednesday night. I remember sort of sitting up and thinking, why am I feeling like this? I get this feeling that there's someone else in here. I hear pretty prominent footsteps in my room that sound very authoritative. I'm instantly uneasy, and I get this feeling like, oh, God, what's going on? And from where the footsteps occurred there's a bathroom. I could hear, it sounded like taps being turned on and turned off again. And at this point, I'm very anxious. I want to get up and investigate. As I decide to get up, I sort of decide that that's a bad idea. And I stay in bed and I do the little kid thing where the covers come up to here and I'm just freaking. I basically decided that I'm just going to ride whatever's going on out in bed. Just leave the television on and try and just focus on that. I eventually nod off, and what I awoke to was kind of the feeling like if you were to sort of blow hot air across your hand on the back of my head, right about here. So I'm asleep like this, and I get this feeling right here, and simultaneously I wake up and come around like this. Before me, what I see is a brilliant orb that's about 6 to 8 centimeters in diameter that have spurs of light that are shafting sort of out from this core. The brilliance of what I'm seeing is like nothing else I've ever seen. Basically all I had a chance to see was in that 3 seconds, this orb right there, and it held for a split second as if you catch a deer in the forest and it looks into your eyes and then bolts. I got up out of bed and jotted down as best as what I could a description as what I'd just seen. I guess the first thing that brought the notion on that this was most likely my father was when I woke up and went downstairs. I think that it would be pretty good to assume that would be my father, and that would be his way of trying to help his son. Maybe it was important enough for him to swing back down to planet Earth for a night and shake his kid up and say, you know, you gotta get over me. So all my questions and all of my fears and all of my concerns and all of my longings, everything, had kind of been shaken like this and dumped out on the ground. I'm really fortunate, I guess, you know, for so many reasons. I've had an incredible life, wonderful parents, the best on which anyone could ever ask for. And yeah, it's a damn shame if I don't get on with something great in my life for my own sake, let alone paying homage to the people that bring you into this world.
Both Mitch and Salwa had experiences they believe were a guiding hand from dead relatives. Both decided to follow that guidance, and as a result made huge decisions about their lives. Usually in Western culture, when a person tells of connecting with a dead loved one, it's because they actively sought out the relative using a medium. Mitch and Salwa didn't do that. They didn't go looking, but they still believed they got advice from their dead relations. And so their experiences didn't only change their behavior, they also had an effect on their openness to and acceptance of the spiritual and supernatural.
I guess I consider myself more spiritual in the sense that I never really embraced being spiritual. I didn't really know what that was, but in one sentence I would say that experience has given me life again.
So in any way, I don't regret what I did, because the peace I got, you know, for the amount expected is not worth, you know. It's not worth. But still the question is there. Who is controlling my feeling? Who has controlled my feeling? I was not scared to see my sister. Even if I see her right now, I will talk to her. I am not scared at all.